why do I keep saying Jesus, take the wheel. Hello and welcome back to Slience Home Entertainment, and today's video is something I have been very excited to do. I've been wanting to do for a while. I guess today is the day, folks. Today's the day we are going to be talking about. Hopefully there's a sound effect, or I just left it in because of a joke. But before I really get in depth into the lore on why I know so much Bratz, but also just Bratz in general, I hope if you're new here, please like, subscribe, comment down below if you want me to, I guess, talk about other doll lines. I have other content other than Bratz on this channel as well. If you want to check that out, I have a bunch of gameplays. I go live on Twitch. But anyways, I wanted to preface this by saying I got these two amazing sources from all the stuff that I've researched and looked into. And one of them is called lookingbratz.com, which is pretty much like a very in-depth website. It's pretty much like a basis off the wiki where you can go even more in depth, and it's like a blog, updates regularly on new stuff that's happening. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't even think I scratched the surface of that website, so if I missed anything, let me know. As well as the Bratz wiki are both linked in the description box down below if you want to check either of them out if I don't talk about enough things, but also as well as just like, I'm not going to probably get into every controversy because there is quite a lot. This doll line has been around for like years now, almost 30 if you think about it, but about 20-ish years, so there's a lot to go through, as well as they have so many collections. This video would be like, I think 3 hours long if I went through every off-brand collection, like the Bratz Boys or Bratzillas, little Bratz Babies, and they each have most likely their own controversies within it. So I don't talk about everything because I'd rather see it as a separate video. So if you do want me to do a separate video, please let me know, because I love doing these types of videos and I want to keep doing these type of videos. Think about dolls and how much they improved compared to, let's say, the 90s or 80s, where for me personally it was only Barbie really being the standout doll with a few doll lines or maybe even action figures here and there. But Barbie always took the crown of being the best doll you could probably have in your doll collection in those times, until 2001, of course, when Bratz was first introduced in
passion for fashion, passion for fashion, passion for fashion. Self-express in the way you dress. If you got attitude, make your fashion move.
Don't theorize, accessorize.
If you got passion, show it in your fashion. The girls with a passion for fashion.
I personally grew up with the Bratz versus Barbie era, especially with the early 2000s Barbie and Bratz movies, and I just personally had more Bratz things just because one was what I really loved and enjoyed. If you want to know, my two favorite Bratz were Chloe and Phoebe. Those two I really inspire and I relate to the most compared to the other Bratz dolls. Also, it doesn't help that YouTube I was on YouTube a lot, which means there were a lot of funny little Bratz videos, shows, episodes, people playing with their Bratz, showing off their collection, etc., that really got me even more in depth into Bratz than I personally think Barbie's has done in a while. It was the height of the internet as well, so when Bratz came out, there were websites after websites of each doll. Like, some dolls were created because you could go to this website. I don't know, I just always thought it was cool to be growing up in that era, because I feel like that it was like the height of doll collecting for me personally, as I've seen throughout the years. And so now we're here in the beginning of the beginning. How was Bratz really created, let's say? In the year of 1998, which was the year I was born, the artist named Carter Bryant wanted to create a fashion doll line, you guessed it, after seeing a group of teenagers leaving high school. Isn't that crazy? You're going to pick up your child and your dad was inspired by a bunch of teenagers outside of a high school, creating like a iconic core 4 group that still is alive to this day. Is kind of crazy. The first ever Bratz characters were created: Zoe, aka Angel, Lupe, aka Princess, Holiday, I think that's how you say it, aka Hip Hop, and Jade, aka Little Star. Obviously, these names will be changed eventually, which, to be honest, I don't like. I mean, they kept Jade, obviously, but I really don't like any of the names. I don't think they fit, or like the nicknames are just... Maybe I'm just so used to one name, I just like the other names just don't seem right to me. Unfortunately, though, it was shelved as nobody really wanted to put money into it or invest until 2000, when he finally pitched it to MGA Entertainment CEO Isaac Larian. I think that's how you say his last name. However, funny enough, it was actually going to still be passed until he showed it to his teenage daughter, and his daughter saw the potential of it. And so then on May 21st, 2001, the core 4 Bratz girlies were made. Chloe, aka Angel, Yasmin, aka Pretty Princess, Sasha, aka Bunny Boo, and Jade, aka Cool.
Win it! We'll break it! Crybaby loser!
Now we're gonna just go through like overall a timeline, because like I said, there is already so much with this doll line already, controversies and just things happening throughout the years, that it's a lot. So I'm condensing it down to a really like pretty much a timeline. 2008 was probably a very iconic, not an iconic time, but a very big time if you are definitely not into like dolls or collecting dolls. If you remember Bratz versus Barbie, there was actually a lawsuit, and I was researching, and Bratz was to be handed over actually to Mattel after like years of legal battle. Even when I was a kid, I remember people talking about it because people were scared that one, Bratz could be just gone forever, or that Barbie was going to change it to be really bad. So people were kind of rightfully so worried. Mattel did win at first, however, in I believe when I was researching around 2010 or 11, and it actually was overturned. And Bratz still is owned by MGA. Luckily, there was some shady behind the scenes stuff. This lawsuit is kind of a lot. So if you want to know more about it, let me know. I could probably make like an interesting-esque video, I guess, on it. But 2010, Bratz made a comeback for their 10-year anniversary. Throughout the early 2010s, nothing really happened, at least for me personally, that was like super interesting. So like 2010, after their anniversary, 11, 12, and 13, it was kind of quiet, and then 14 was kind of even quieter. But in 2015, they did relaunch. However, if you see the relaunch of Bratz, I remember when they relaunched, and I was just not a big fan. I think they was like kind of modern, but it wasn't the Bratz anymore, and it felt just like a copy and paste. They again went on hiatus until 2018. A collector doll line was created by the iconic Hayden Williams, who would be unfortunately the last time Bratz were in the 2010s, which is kind of sad. It seems like whatever happened after the lawsuit and during the whole getting Bratz back and stuff like that, it felt like they were just kind of in a rut. And then in 2020, Bratz was making a slow comeback with apparel. In 2021, for their 20th anniversary reproduction of their original doll line, they pretty much reproduced it. I have 2 of them, thank you. I want to get Jade and Chloe, but I've yet to get them yet. But I do have 2 of them. And since then, they have been doing a bunch of different collections, collector dolls, reproductions of some of their iconic doll lines, as well as making new dolls. I still want that Valentine's Day Megan one, probably gone, but I still wanted that one. That one was so cute. That's just like the overview of 2021. Obviously, I'm going to get into the controversies. So
Are you for me to...
Obviously, with every doll line comes controversies because, again, it's a doll line. People are going to make mistakes. One of the biggest controversies and things that people still talk about this to this day is the over-sexualization of these dolls, which, in my personal opinion, I can see, but at the same time, I don't understand fully, and maybe because I'm just not a parent, or my parents were okay with it, and they always watched the movies with me, and it was never about the over-sexualizations of children or teenagers or any of that. It was that time, and teenagers were wearing those clothes, so I feel like people were so used to just Barbie being like the standout doll. They weren't used to seeing different clothes on different body types and stuff like that, how clothes fit other dolls differently. I remember I tried to fit some Barbie clothes, and because Bratz dolls have, most of the Bratz dolls I've ever owned always had like normal thighs, so they were thicker. They could never fit any of my Barbie clothes. I was always kind of mad about that. That's where I was mad at, okay? But again, I grew up with these dolls. I never saw that. I saw the Bratz as confident teenagers. I inspired to be that confident to wear that kind of stuff outside. And again, if you guys don't know the saying in Bratz, it's passion for fashion. It always has been. They are girls who love fashion. And people have said, and where I was finding these controversies, there was a quote saying, "These are just dolls. These are just toys." You know what I did with my Bratz? I had some G.I. Joe dolls, some action figures. They were married to my mind. That's what inspired me. I can see it. I can understand it. There is another controversy where an independent clothing brand named, oh God, I'm going to F this up. Noon accused Bratz of ripping off their designs for Yasmin's outfit in an Instagram post. In a comment on the post, the official Bratz Instagram account stated that their intention was to get permission to use the designs and tag the creator, but due to human error, this never happened. Again, that can happen, but it was definitely interesting to say the least, because in my personal opinion, you are a big doll line brand, and you not tagging a creator or you not getting permissions for the designs is a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Again, I can understand if it's like human error, etc., but that definitely rubbed me the wrong way. That's for sure. Hi, editing Selena here. So I say a lot of nothing in this section, and this section is, oof, maybe we shouldn't have done that. And that was when early 2000s to probably now, but mid 2015, where a lot of companies, not just MGA, were just like in general, a lot of doll companies, even though they had people of color, they would lighten their skin on their artwork because that would bring them more money. Not true. It is not true. It is like a bold-faced lie, and people like to use that excuse of like, it just brings in more money. No, it doesn't. It actually might even give you less if you keep doing that, buddy. Or they would bring some new character in, part of a certain culture, and maybe make it a little too on the stereotype side and not being like appropriate and for that culture. Lines, not just Bratz. Bratz biggest like no is lightening Sasha's skin tone. There is also a character called Nevera, who also occasionally has her skin lightened for some odd reason, even though she's a very dark-skinned woman. A lot of people like to mention Desert Jewels as one of their more controversial movies, but Desert Jewels is one of those few movies where people are like, this is a little weird. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys because that is a big controversy. It is what people do talk about. It's a lot to digest, and if anybody has comments or, like any more of their perspective on that isn't please let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation about it. Or if you have any other examples that brats in general have done it. Those are the only few examples that I could find. But yeah, that is my thing on, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. And hopefully in the future, we won't continue to do that. But I do know Bratz was also one of the few doll companies who was putting people of color on their front page at least, and pushing to be like, no, we're gonna sell Sasha here too, and no, we're gonna sell Yasmin, no, we're gonna put Sasha here. You know, they would definitely be pushing more. And there's actually some more recent controversies from Bratz. If you didn't know, there was a collaboration with Mean Girls, and a lot of people were angry because, one, it's a big collaboration, but two, they sold out so quickly, which is like not a surprise for me, but they didn't do anything to like stop the resellers and scalpers, especially with Bratz and just super rare doll collaborations. It is so hard to get there faster than the resellers and scalpers. It's actually wild because they'll, you know, if you don't know, they'll charge them up expensive because, oh, it's super rare and stuff. And I do remember seeing how much the Mean Girls collaboration dolls were, and atrocious. I remember Bratz being one of the more affordable doll lines. So to see that was wild. My heart was like, oh, my wallet was like, absolutely not. I said, I agree. But also their limitation was super small. There was not many dolls. For a big collaboration like Mean Girls, I was actually really surprised. And I know they did a second launch, and again, it happened again, where there were not enough dolls, and again, the resellers and scalpers got to them first before the actual fans got to them. And so like a lot of people were, honestly, I'm gonna be frank with y'all, rightfully so angry, because like, especially I feel like 2020 was probably the start. Resellers and scalpers with like dolls have become wild, crazy. It's not even with like Bratz dolls, it's with Monster High dolls, it's with Hello Kitty, it's with anything that girls, I've noticed a lot, and it isn't just with girls, okay? Like comic books and stuff, like they'll overprice it to the point where it's like, okay, I understand you want to make your money back, but then what is the point of buying this? You know, at some point they're just buying it just to resell it so they can make their money back and more. And that is getting ridiculous to me. If you know this line is going to be big, I don't know why they don't do pre-orders of dolls. It would make a lot more sense, and it would probably make the resellers and scalpers really think how many dolls they need or want to buy, or, you know, set a limit of like how many dolls each person is allowed to get, just so people can actually get the dolls they want, and they aren't like sold out immediately. Final thought, don't hate this doll line. As much as I talk about the controversies and talk about some of the stuff maybe with side-eye every now and then, I'd probably still be buying them when I'm like 50 years old, if they're still around. Obviously, they've just like, especially the movies, with me reading these, especially how many recent controversies there were of Bratz, I am scared a little bit. I am shaking in the boots that there might be a possible hiatus in the future, or just like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've noticed that the Bratz dolls have been getting more expensive, and there's no return of that expensiveness. I've seen dolls that were like $40 and only maybe one outfit, maybe. And I'm like, not even like the outfits. I don't buy as many dolls right now just due to like everything that's happening in the world, but I do try to buy one every now and then. I've been really liking the Pixlings. They're really inexpensive and they're very cute. My hope in the future though, make a movie again, make the movies again, anything, or a show. I know people are gonna tell me, oh, they did like, or they're still doing, or they are doing their like little TikTok Bratz show pretty much. And while that is cute and it's adorable, and I do watch them. It is not the same as the Bratz show on YouTube. It feels so empty and so, I hate to say it, lackluster, to the point where I watch them and I'm like, it's just, maybe it's just because I'm older, just know they can do better than this, and I hope to see more from them in the future. And like I said, if you want me to review any of the doll lines that I did not specifically talk about in this video, or certain other controversies that I did miss, because I could miss, you know, I'm not perfect, the wiki isn't perfect. So if there's any other controversies I missed, or things that I should have like put in this video, let me know, as this is like my first type of video I'm kind of like doing this with. So I'm a little nervous. I don't usually do these type of videos, so any advice or tips would help as well. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.